You're still watching the AFIA Morning Show live from Enugu this Wednesday morning. I am Nathalie Uku, and this is saying welcome to the 30th day of July 2025. It's just 14 minutes after 8 a.m. Oji Wachuku is here, radiating with joy as well, I hope. Oji,
yeah,
how
sure.
do you do?
I'm great. Good morning.
How are you feeling this morning?
I'm strong.
That's a great way to say it. You are very, very strong. We'll leave it at that,
Sure.
so that we don't begin. We're joined this morning by CC Emchebe. You can also call him CC the Rabbi, AFIA TV, OAP, and of course, radio presenter as well. Thank you for joining us, CC, this morning.
It's always my pleasure.
How was the sports show this morning on radio?
It was splendid indeed. So much to talk about. And, I think it's just that euphoria of the Falcons win. That's the major stuff that's catching the headlines, and then the largest, the cash, gifts, and other things that are just coming in. Well, that's reward for the work well done. So I guess nobody has the right to envy them.
Well, the question is, after the promises, what happens? Are they going to claim these prizes? Knowing fully well how Nigeria operates, they always go on papers and on news, make all those humongous mammoth promises, but at the end of the day, to fulfill it, it might take you like 10 years to 15 years.
Or 25.
Yeah, we spoke the same.
Yes, Choma was. Let's not go there as well. But yes, if you really read between the lines, you see that the president directed or approved for the money to be given to the girls, but nobody said that they went home with the money in their hands. So, I mean, are you concerned, even the slightest bit, that this might just be another promise?
Well, thank you very much once again for having me.
That's a great way to think.
Yeah, it is. Well, in all honesty, first of all, nobody can dispute the fact that these girls, that is the Super Falcons, did not deserve everything that they've been promised. Now, fulfillment of the promise is yet another thing, because quite all right, we've seen the antecedents of past governments, past administrations, whereby they make promises, what we call in this part of the world, audio promises. Right. Now, I think it's just a question of credibility. If you make a promise, you should be able to make good that promise. You should have the willpower to make good that promise. You should have the capacity to make good that promise. And I think I know about the latter being there, because capacity-wise, this government has what it takes. Because if you're checking where the monies are being diverted to other things that we term as frivolous or mundane, they spend monies on things that really make people wonder. Don't these governors, don't these ministers, don't these senators have the best interests at heart? That the interests of their constituents at heart. These are questions that are asked. So whenever these monies are promised, and then we see that monies are not released as and when due, we begin to wonder, is it that they don't have the willpower because they have the capacity? So really, I think, hopefully, because of the girls, because of what they've done, they've achieved a feat that's really monumental. A 10th Women's African Cup of Nations title is what they won. They hadn't won that in about 7 years, and the fact that they won this for the 10th time under this administration, it is only fair that you make a promise that you can keep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see how this goes. I know sometimes it comes down to approvals, the time it takes for it to be approved, and the people that may or may not be following up on that directive.
The red tape, bureaucracy.
He gave an express order. You should, disburse. Let's hope and wait and see.
Reactions are definitely mixed. Some people are tying it to other people, like police officers, for instance, who have served 35 years. And how come that money was not given to them? Why are we now giving the super? I mean, there's so many reactions. And right now it's like walking on glass. Because I know that there's some people out there, yes, I'm talking to you. You're waiting to see what Oji, Natalie, and CC will say concerning this morning. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Just hang on. Let's take a look at newspaper headlines this morning. We'll begin with the Daily Times. And the top story here, 2027, no vacancy in Aso Villa. APC national chairman tells opposition parties. Plateau relatively safer than other northern states, according to Mutfwang. Federal government condemns anti-Nigerian protests in Ghana, moves to prevent reprisal. Alleged fraud, Okpebolo fires aid on oil and gas. Naira strengthens to 1,533 Naira per dollar as reserves top $39 billion. Rector jailed 7 years for running fake degree courses. On Daily Trust, ACF says North sidelined as Tinubu's men showcase projects. Straight to Nigerian Tribune, presidency in North should wait till 2031, according to Akume. North not getting deserved attention under Tinubu's government's Arewa Consultative Forum says Tinubu has kept his promises, says Northern Governors Forum. PDP blasts ADC, accuses party of unprovoked attack, says it remains strong, vows to beat APC in 2027. Makinde Abiodun meet in Ibadan to strengthen relationship on our Greek security. Others, IMF raises Nigeria's 2025 growth forecast to 3.4% amid global optimism. Straight to the Punch, North splits over Tinubu marginalization claim. Power rotation debate heats up as North reviews Tinubu's scorecard. Tinubu must complete 8 years, says Afenifere, Middle Belt Forum. Opposition tackle APC's zoning standard. Olubadan for burial August 18th. August 8th, I beg your pardon. And again, we have a rather small headline here, top right corner. 210 trillion naira audit. Senate demands NNPC response in 3 weeks. On Nigerian Nnewsdirect, renewed hope must not become recycled promises. Northern leaders warn Tinubu. Meet in Kaduna to review Tinubu's 2-year performance. Tinubu will not leave any region marginalized, SGF Akume says. North demands action as federal government moves to revive Kaduna textile industry. And still here, Yelwata massacre. Tinubu donates 1 billion naira as AFIA pushes for domestication of open grazing ban in North Central. CAC to the list, 100,000 dormant companies. Kano accident claims 6 lives in Jigawa. Nigeria's foreign reserves crossed $39 billion as Naira appreciates against the dollar.
Okay, starting from this Nigeria, 4,126 days after hope not lost on Chibok girls, Lee Sharibu. FG tells UK team at meeting with foreign delegation National Security Advisor's representative General Adamu Laka says efforts to free kidnapped girls still on front burner. Senate gives NNPCL 3 weeks to address 210 trillion naira audit queries. Health Insurance FCTA to sanction erring health management organizations. Hepatitis awareness key to reducing liver cancer, says oncologist. Tinubu orders immediate employment for 200 core members, 250,000 naira cash awards. Offer 10 injured core members automatic employment. Platform Times. FG urges calm as Ghanaians protest, demand deportation of Nigerians. Senate slam Ghana protest, demands respect for Nigerians. Carlo bows to pressure, withdraws indigenous bill amid public outcry. Kaduna Governor sacks Information Commission appoints a successor, Akume, to northern politicians. Wait till 2031, Tinubu deserves full support. Renewed agony, not hope. Oyinlola blasts Tinubu, rejects Osun PDP's endorsement. Residents threaten to go after rampaging elephants after death of Ogun farmer. Exclusive chaos in Ogun local government. 8 lawmakers allegedly assault council officials over withheld allowances. NDLEA auctions forfeited properties of convicted drug traffickers in 4 states. Abiodun Makinde meet again, silent on CCTV installation 3 years after MOU on joint security network. Lastly, Murik queries 2 billion naira constituency funds, seek accountability from Ogun lawmakers. Moving over to The Guardian. This goes over bill 2 million customers struggle with metering efficiency, 210 trillion audits gap. I needed time to get it right. NNPC boss tells Net. NDLEA auctions drug traffickers' properties in Lagos, Kano, Ondo, Ogun. Mob lynches police officer's son for beheading brother in Ondo. Northern leaders criticize Tinubu's record as governor. Others rally in defense. Nigerians spent 1.3 trillion naira on PMS in June as Dangote marketers deepen competition. Nigeria's economy to grow by 3.4% this year, IMF affirms. Current security architecture can't contain insecurity, alias says. FG cautions as Ghanaians allege ritual killings, prostitution against Nigerians. Moving over to First News. Police nab 5,488 criminals, rescue 170 hostages in 2 months, says IGP. Defense chief warns anyone backing bandits is enemy of Nigeria. Boko Haram attacks banditry drastically reduced in 2 years, says Ribadu. 2027, North will back Tinubu's re-election, attributed to Gombe governor. Dangote refinery withdraws lawsuit against NNPCL over oil import licenses, Akume. To northern politicians, support Tinubu, drop 2027 ambitions. Remi Tinubu donates 1 billion naira to displaced families in Benue. NIPCOM condemns anti-Nigerian protests in Ghana, urges calm. NBA warns new lawyers. Don't over-depend on AI tools. Moving over to the last one right here. Vanguard. Tinubu reassures North of development as ACF chair, ex-SGF kick. Doctors, nurses threaten strike nationwide over poor welfare. Quality of LG elections still low, says INEC. And lastly, 2027, ADC might become another PDP or APC if attributed to Lukman as he wants.
All right. Thank you, Oji, for those headlines. I'm sure we have a lot of stories here to look at, but I think we'll start from the Daily Times. 2027, no vacancy in Aso Villa. APC national chairman tells opposition parties. We're also seeing George Akume telling Northerners to wait until 2031. According to rotational president, they shouldn't go ahead pushing in 2027. What do you make of the stand, the position of APC when it comes to continuing to discuss these political matters, even though in this case it was more or less a review of the president's scorecard? But it appears as if both from the angle of the people and the government, we're seeing more interest in politics than actually developing Nigeria. Your thoughts?
Natural governance.
Well, yeah, really, I think it's a genuine concern because politics, like I've said it before on this show some weeks ago, that politics is essentially power play. When you look at politicians trying to secure power, they do that for different reasons. Some genuine politicians, I'll have to admit, want to secure power to better the lot of the average man and to better the lot of their constituents that are out there. But most politicians, sorry to say, sad to say, but stark reality, most politicians want to get power and secure that power in a bid to gain relevance and then have control over everything, over resources, over monies here and there, over political appointments. They want to be able to give things freely to those that will be in their good books and then owe them favors. And then sometimes you find out that people who get in there want to stay there for a very long time. I don't want to digress, but I may have to a little bit. Look at some parts of the world in Africa where somebody is in his 90s and is trying to run for another term. Another president in his 80s trying to run for another term. That's how intoxicating power can be. But the discussion still remains the same. Politics in Nigeria, because there's a difference between politics and Nigerian politics. We have a very funny brand of politics here in Nigeria. And you can see that many people are not happy. They're discontented with the way the economy has been run ever since 2023. They have issues, of course, looking at the president's scorecard. Some have found his scorecard wanting. He's made promises, renewed hope. Like one of the headlines that said, renewed recycled promises, because promises are being made. The dollar has not increased exponentially since that time. Food prices have jumped up. The first political statement that was made on his inauguration prompted concerning the subsidy removal, and then next thing, everything just went down south. So people have their valid reasons for not trusting the government, and naturally people are looking at 2027. Now, everybody's involved. More people are interested. The point I'm trying to make is that more people are interested in politics now because they know that 2027 could be a make or break year for the Nigerian economy and everybody generally.
Nigerian Nnewsdirect, renewed hope must not become recycled promises. Northern leaders warn Tinubu. Do you see the shift? Do you see any shift? Renewed hope becoming a state where we have every other gathering, the government starts talking about how things are improving, it's only going to get better for Nigerians. Is it transitioning from renewed hope to recycled promises in your view?
In all honesty, I'm going to be as objective as I can be in this regard. Renewed hope. If you look at what led to the mantra of renewed hope, it was the alleged maladministration between 2015 and 2023 under the presidency of the late Muhammadu Buhari, because so much ineptitude was seen in many sectors of the government, and then promises were made. President Tinubu, being the stalwart that he's been, political juggernaut for so many years, so many decades, in fact, somebody who brought some level of stability to Lagos State and has been a kingmaker for so long. Yes, we know that people have had issues with his campaign mantra, Emilokon, that's I'm the one, I'm next in line. Emilokon is essentially, I'm number one. That's what it means in Yoruba. So basically, people have looked at that and used that as a stick to beat him with. But he made promises. He made, he had a manifesto. But in all fairness, you look at the track record of Nigeria, because when you look at the Nigerian issue, you have to start with the economy. Nobody has any business talking about the way forward when you can't find food to eat, where the basic amenities, the bare necessities of life are hard to come by, where prices have skyrocketed, doubled, tripled, maybe even quadrupled in some cases. A bag of rice, a bag of gari, you can compare the price now and the price then. You can compare a liter of fuel now in the filling station and then. So these are the stark realities. It's not about making the promises. This renewed hope, we're not seeing it the way it was promised. That's the point, and that's the agitation that people have. That's why a lot of, I have issues with that. I have issues with the promises that were made because, like I always say and I always believe, if you're going to make a promise, you must have the capacity and the willpower to make good that promise. I have seen the capacity, like I said earlier. The willpower, well, not so much.
Okay. Well, I'll connect to stories here, right? But the first one is from Nigerian Nnewsdirect. The renewed hope must not become recycled promises. Tinubu, northern leaders warn Tinubu. But meeting Kaduna to review Tinubu's 2-year performance. So I'll ask you to, right? 2 years on, thus far, how would you rate the performance of this APC government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? That's my first question. You can answer that, and then I'll get to the second one.
Okay. I'll be as frank as possible. When you check his first 2 years in office, ever since he was announced as the winner, let's leave the announcement. Ever since he was sworn in as the president on the 29th of May, 2023, so much has been happening. But when you check it critically, like I said, like I mentioned, normally, at the risk of being critical, you have to look at the basic metrics that determine whether a government has delivered on its promises. And some of the basic metrics which the average Nigerian is going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at the cost of production. You're going to be looking at the economy generally. How vibrant is the economy? How much is being paid? What's the minimum wage of Nigerians at the moment? How are they faring? What's transportation? What's the cost of transportation? And this issue of the fuel subsidy, like that was a major problem. That announcement alone, as well intentioned as it may have been, sparked off a lot of things, because eventually we all know that the price of fuel affects everything in the market. It affects the economy. It determines how much the commuters will be charging for transport. It affects how much the fuel itself will be bought in the filling stations. It affects how much the basic commodities in the markets, the foodstuffs and everything will be paid for. It affects schools, for instance, those who are interested in education, because you know that in most schools right now, you have to start running generators on a regular basis. It was during this period, for instance, that banks started offering half services. You started seeing because of the high cost of diesel. So these are some of the things, the basic metrics that you check. It's not about how many agreements that you entered into with international bodies, the loans that you secured, unless you want to call that one a part of the scorecard, a positive part of the scorecard, the deals and agreements that are made with China or with Venezuela or with one or two other countries. No, these are not the things that the average man wants to listen to. We know about the promises, but in fairness to this government, the economy was already in a mess before the president came on board.
To revive it, that they know the pathway, and that's the reason why they said we need hope, right? So, in fairness too, assuming subsidy is removed, assuming that huge pronouncement wasn't made, could this government, rally around and revive the economy? In your own thoughts,
They could do that if they choose to. It's down to that same issue of willpower. Because like I said, capacity is non-negotiable. It's there.
But they remove subsidy to save more, to help the economy. So why are we still back or even deeper than where we found ourselves during the leadership of late President Muhammadu Buhari?
I mean, there's so many whys at this point, but let's look at what is now trending today on this Nigeria. 4,126 days later, hope not lost on Chibok girls, Leah Sharibu. Federal government tells UK team. I really like how this paper put the headline. Years later, we're still talking about the Chibok girls, those that are still held in captivity. Leah Sharibu, who refused to denounce the Christian faith, and that's why they held her back, the Boko Haram. So, is Nigeria really taking security seriously? We're talking about the achievements or the scorecard of President Tinubu, but you have this event that should have been a way of probably this president proving himself 2 years on that he was able to bring back Leah Sharibu and Orin Chibok girls. But you're not seeing any of that. Security is an emerging concern in Nigeria. One of the reasons why even up north, they feel like these dividends are not even getting to them, because we're seeing so many attacks taking place up north. And we have this long-standing issue of the Chibok girls and Leah Sharibu. What's your take on this? I really like how it was captured in this paper. Your take?
No, it's striking the way you brought up this issue, Natalie, and it's a major concern, because I was going to transit from, we talked about the basic metrics that will determine whether a government is successful or not. Economy, it starts with economy. It then moves to security, which is what we've raised right now. These Chibok girls, that was actually the stick that was used to beat the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. The Chibok, that was a major campaign selling point for President Buhari, the late President Buhari. It was in 2014 that this Chibok incident happened, 11 years ago. Over 4,000 days later, it's still a concern. The fact that more than a full decade later, some girls are still unaccounted for. Does it mean that these Boko Haram activists have not been found? Of course, I think Shekau has been declared dead a long time ago. So the leadership is still recycling. So their competence levels are still recycling. So is it an overestimation of the competence of the Boko Haram hierarchy, or an underestimation of the competence of the security forces that are meant to be snuffing them out at every point in time? So it's a concern. And the fact that this was a selling point of the APC government, knocking out PDP and then ensuring that they secured power because of insecurity, the tables are now turned. They've not done anything. We are not satisfied. Yes, we've seen, and some have also, I don't know what to say about that, but some have termed that as campaign leverage. There are some unscrupulous elements in the corridors of power who make deals with some of these Boko Haram, activists, and then they release some of the girls in batches, a few of them, just to show that they are working, they're doing something, and that's the accusation. Allegation has actually been leveled against them, that they have the willpower, they have the ability, not the willpower, the ability to end insecurity once and for all. But it's a thriving market for some, allegedly.
There are so many things that are going on with regards to security in Nigeria, but the critical point here is that NSA is saying that this issue returning the Chibok girls and Leah Sharibu, still maintain the front burner. Do you think that these two issues are being placed on the front burner in Nigeria currently? I mean, Leah Sharibu was kidnapped when she was 14. By now, she should be no less than 22, probably already heading on to, late mid-20s. I mean, what? Why? Why? Let's just stick with the why question.
No, if it's on the front burner, I can't see that front burner. Honestly, I can't see it unless the front burner is somewhere in the back. I can't. It doesn't make sense to me because little or nothing, next to nothing is being done, in my own view, about the issue of security. As long as Boko Haram are still doing what they're doing in the north and trying to gain inroads into the southern region, as long as Lakrowa are doing their own job there too, and more or less like they are continuing from where Boko Haram stopped in some areas, as long as nothing is being done, as long as they are repentant, quote unquote, terrorists, because that's what I will call them. I will not call them bandits. I will call them terrorists. Repentant terrorists who are being reintegrated and then accused of undermining the security operatives. Then we have a big problem on our hands. Because when you see insecurity, it has to be crushed. It has to be dealt with ruthlessly. I'm not seeing insecurity being dealt with the way it should be dealt with. I'm seeing at best insecurity issues being dealt with kid gloves on, and at worst, a complicity, basically. So these are the things, I stand corrected, but it's the reality on ground. Insecurity is not being addressed with the seriousness and urgency that it requires.
Okay, let's have a mind shift and try to connect also to all these things happening and why the focus is on the north right now. And also this brings us to Daily Trust. ACF says North sidelined as Tinubu's men showcase projects, right? Do you see this as a political strategy also to dampen President Tinubu's chances in the north? Like, that's why all these conversations are on the front burner, on the papers, front page of the papers, everyone.
Okay, just some context there.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to also put it in perspective. Yeah. There was a scorecard review meeting that was held. So, that's why it's cutting across the dailies, because, of course, that was talked about. Yeah. And many of the pressmen that have brought this to the front covered the event. So it's not like, we wouldn't say it's a media onslaught.
No,
it's just reporting what happened.
The reason why I'm saying this because even last week or thereabout, there are the conversations on how the president is focused on the south and not the north, right? So he's been in the conversation. People have been talking about this thing. So my question is, from your own permutation, right? Is this like a political strategy to also dampen this man's chances and weights in the north?
Yes, I believe so. It's one of the oldest tricks in the book because naturally the North feel sidelined. And I'll tell you why they feel sidelined. This is no disrespect to the Northern region, not at all. But it's just, I think they are victims of circumstances. They are victims of their own prominence, let's put it that way. Because for the vast majority of time, Nigeria has enjoyed independence since 1960, October 1st. The North has held sway when it comes to power for so long. So the North are used to being in power. They are used to having the juiciest appointments. They are used to being in the corridors of power. So it's not like I'm not using that as a stick to beat them with. What that does is that it creates a sense of entitlement. So if you feel that the appointments are being lopsided, even if it's a 49-51, that is 51 for the southern part, because there's a southerner that's there, and 49 for the north, it's still a minority. So any minority is not acceptable to most Northerners. So the reality on ground is that they are doing that. It is a campaign strategy. They will definitely do everything they can to undermine the presidency if they feel that President Tinubu is not going to favor the North even more once he secures the second term, because we know about this. Normally, the first term for any executive head, whether it's at the federal government level for the president or the state level, the first term usually is to consolidate power, and then the second term is usually to enjoy the gains of that power. He's not running again because according to the constitution, there's no third term. Yeah. So if he makes that mistake, I'm speaking from a northern perspective for those who are aggrieved, because truth be told, not all Northerners are aggrieved. There are some who think outside the box, who say, no, this is not exactly how it should be. Probably there's a game plan here. And, but from an aggrieved Northerners perspective, one of the biggest mistakes will be for President Tinubu, who is a southerner, and mind you, according to the allegations that are being made, who has pretty much a stooge at his side, because truth be told, the vice president, Kashim Shettima, has not been, and I think that's part of the what's adding to the narrative. He's taken a back seat in most affairs. He's not been as influential as, say, Nnamdi Sambo during the time of President Jonathan. So he's taken a back seat, and that's very rare. We didn't see that with Atiku under Obasanjo. So this is the most docile, if I may use that word, docile northern vice president we've seen in recent times. And it is a worry to the aggrieved northerners. So naturally, they want to find a way to undermine President Tinubu's ambitions.
The Muslim tickets apparently is not working out.
It's not working at all. And we warn them.
Natalie.
Oh, you go ahead.
Okay, let's get back to these two. Nigerian Tribune, PDP blasts ADC, accuses party of unprovoked attack, says it remains strong and vows to beat APC in 2027. That's even where I'm concentrating on, right? So now I want to ask you this question. Come 2027, everybody's been talking about this stuff, them to focus on the governance. They are talking about election, no problems. Let's have that conversation. Come 2027, as the PDP is saying strongly that they are the ones to unseat APC, but I want to, for my own political calculations and permutations right now, come 2027, which is going to be that second strong force? ADC, PDP, or LP against APC, like regarding all the works being done in the now?
It's funny. I just can't resist saying this. To add to what I'm about to say, it's funny that PDP have decided to toe that line and speaking like a toothless bulldog, because it reminds me of what happened in World War II, when it was very, very clear that Nazi Germany were losing the war, but they kept on spreading propaganda. They were winning, they were in charge, they were actually making inroads to the Allies, but it was very, very clear that the war was ending in 1945. But they were doing that to boost the morale of their people around there. The truth of the matter is that the PDP that I'm seeing now, unless something radical happens, unless there's a shift in the leadership, unless there's a settlement there, unless the role of maybe, say, someone like Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, is addressed and tackled as it is, unless that is done, I think PDP are just a joke. I'm sorry to say that. They are a joke at the moment. And I don't think, unless something drastic happens, there will be that force, that opposition force. They've already been undermined. They've already been emasculated in many ways throughout over the years, right from the time APC took power. They were killed off. So you talk about, apart from ADC is a coalition, the strength of that coalition is yet to be seen because of the infightings that are going on there. Then, of course, LP were the major force, truth be told, last time around.
And that's why I put it there too.
Yes, LP were the major force, and we know the reason LP were the major force, because of the man that was the flag bearer of the LP, LP Labour Party. But LP, with their infightings and their internal politics, normally whenever you have infighting and then fifth columnists trying to undermine the strength of your party, it affects a number of things. That's why I'm not 100% confident that LP will be a major force. So it's sketchy, very, very sketchy. I think, for me, and this is no sentiments aside, I think for me, it's going beyond parties. I think, if anything, if the last election taught us something, one of the things it taught us is that parties alone do not make progress. It is the people that are being, spearheading the move. Right. Like Peter Obi, for instance. That's a major factor. Where he falls is what will determine a lot of things.
All right, let's shift away from there now and look at issues outside party politics, issues directly impacting Nigerians. Right now, the safety of Nigerians in Ghana has become a major concern, as seen on Platform Times. Federal government urges calm as Ghanaians protest demand deportation of Nigerians. This is coming as the Senate slams the Ghana protest and demands respect for Nigerians. There's also a very interesting infographic there, a pictorial that shows the protesters, the anti-Nigerian protesters, carrying placards that read, "Nigerians are kidnapping and using people for rituals." Another placard here, "Nigerians, Igbos are killing innocent people." And that's, of course, outnumbered by other placards as well among protesters. What do you make of the anti-Nigerian protests currently holding sway in Ghana?
Well, first of all, anti-Nigerian protests it's not a new thing. We saw the xenophobic attacks in South Africa some years ago, and they keep on raising their ugly heads every now and then. It's a normal thing. Chimamanda, is it Chimamanda, is that her name again? I mean, the beauty queen, that whole, I can't remember, but that whole matter that happened there.
Okay, Chidinma Additional.
Chidinma, thank you very much. Chidinma.
I mean, Chimamanda just caught a stray bullet from you.
no, there are many Chimamandas, but
Chidinma Additional. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Chimamanda Adichie, much love to you. But you are definitely not you, no. But so I'm just trying to point out, no, xenophobia is a normal thing, and it's quite sad that the tables have turned, because I remember vividly decades ago, the Ghana must go. We saw what happened there. So it's only this is strange coming from me, but it's become normal. The abnormal has become the new normal, unfortunately. So it's only a normal thing that sometimes the indigenes feel threatened, and they look at the forgive me if I sound superior. They look at the superiority of Nigerians, and then they begin to get disturbed that Nigerians are taking their jobs, Nigerians are taking their girls, because that's part of the issue there. Nigerians are taking the juiciest appointments, and Nigerians are just commanding the economy, because somehow God has blessed Nigerians in many ways. But the fact that they've decided to generalize and say that all Nigerians are ritualists, all Nigerians turn their girls to prostitutes, all Nigerians, then of course, Igbos call it the stray bullets there too. So it's something that's become normal. Should it be normal? No. But it begs the question, because every rumor has an element of truth in it. There are people who do these things. There are people who carry out nefarious activities. They need to stop demarketing Nigeria, because the xenophobic attacks will continue as long as we have some of those unscrupulous elements that give a bad name to Nigeria. So it's disturbing. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not particularly surprised
that it's happening. All right, it's so great to end on this note. I mean, we know that the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, is already engaging with the Ghanaian authorities to see how Nigerians can be safe over there. Thank you, CC, for joining
Thank you very much,
the show today. We'll go on a quick break now. When the morning show returns, we'll be going on to regional stories. What's happening in Umuahia, what's happening in Enugu and other parts of the southeast. You stay tuned.